Map breakouts are a unique and fun part of the exploration experience of Guild Wars 2. Normally, players are confined to the inside of maps, where all of the content takes place. But some curious individuals over the years have found a variety of ways to break out of these maps and explore the outer boundaries. In this video, I want to go over my top 10 favorite map breakouts across the entirety of Guild Wars 2. Just a friendly reminder, please don't use any of these to exploit the game. That would probably, or should, get you banned, and it just works to ruin everything for everyone. Additionally, a few of these spots I found because of a fellow viewer who has shared how to get to some of these locations. I'll share a link down in the description. Let's get started. In the number 10 spot is the Lion's Arch Aerodrome. I wanted to start off with something pretty basic and small to dip our toes into this video before we get to some crazier things. The Aerodrome is the main hub for raiders in Guild Wars 2, where this area houses raid vendors, portals to each raid, a special training area, many different amenities, and more. But one key part about this area that most people should know about is the giant raid portal that makes up the eye of the stingray-shaped building. This area overlooks the rest of Lion's Arch, and you can look up at it from inside, where just like every single map break on this list, you can break out by simply walking out, or using your sky skill to climb up and go through a specific hole in the wall, where this hole is pretty big and easy to break out of, where because of how small the aerodrome is, there isn't too much you can see out here. I particularly like how this demonstrates how each map is its own unique instance, because lore-wise, climbing through this hole would bring you into Lion's Arch and Fort Mariner, but because maps are separate, you are thrown straight into the void, and the area around here is a good example of how map breakouts look. You got a basic water level, you got some really cool geometric cliffs, you got some areas you may die in, you got some random spots out in the water, and so on. All in all, this is a pretty small and basic area, but still one that I like a lot. In the number 9 spot is Gyala Delve. This is a newer map break that I didn't learn about until recently, and is one that I like quite a bit. This map break is unique to this list because you climb up out of it, but you actually have to use a roller beetle to sneak your way out of the borders, where when you get up here, it is a pretty cool area. There's quite a bit to explore up here, but I'll just show the gist of it, where overall, there's one key element of this that I love so much. It looks like the Jade Sea. We have two maps in Guild Wars 2 that are located in the Jade Sea, Dragon's End and Gyala Delve, where both maps incorporate the elements of the Jade Sea into them. When we look at Gyala Delve, you have hints towards a sprawling Jade Sea, but for the most part you are underground, and in Dragon's End, only the bottom half of the map has you running along the sea, and it's mostly only where part of the meta takes place. But I do love the southeastern point of interest of the Jade Expanse that just shows you the sea going off in the distance, and that jade going off in the distance is basically what we see here with this map break, but broken up a little bit. And I do hope we get a map in the future that is a lot like this, just the Jade Sea with different islands and structures and whatnot built on top of it. In the number 8 spot is the Polymock Arena. This is an area that I showcased in my top 10 secrets video, where I talked about how cool of an area this is, but you have to break out of the map to get there. But I mentioned that I didn't think there was any way to get back there anymore, and that the map breaks were fixed. But I got multiple comments that I was wrong. So it took me a long time to figure out how to get in here, which led to me learning a new movement tech in Guild Wars 2, but I got here, and it's pretty cool. For people who don't know, Polymock was a minigame from the original Guild Wars, where you could fight different NPCs with different creature chess pieces. Each creature had different skills, you took turns, and so on. It's Guild Wars' take on a popular genre. But with the development and release of Guild Wars 2, there were some hints for how Polymock would be added into the game, such as with this giant area here in Radisum. But unfortunately, it never made it. But many players hope that one day you will be able to play it, where the main location that you would be coming to for this would probably be here. And it's a pretty fleshed out area with many different platforms and rooms that you can explore, but be careful as you do explore this area because you may end up in jail. In the number 7 spot is Dry Top. This is a pretty popular map that a lot of players can break out of. This is also an area that gets shared a lot on social media. Dry Top itself is a pretty small map, but the total amount of area that this map actually takes up is pretty big, where if you break out of the map, there's a lot you can explore. I honestly love the environments that exist outside of maps, not because of some sort of lore or aesthetical point of view, because it's kind of the opposite of that, but just an insight into game design and map design that is present in every map you can explore. There are so many different cool types of things all around this area that you can look at. I especially like how you can see into the cavern of the shining lights. But the most popular part about this map break is something that is present in many different maps, and it's this guy. Whenever you break out of a map, you may find this fella somewhere around most maps. And if you're confused about what exactly this blue monstrosity is, it's for developers to scale things in the map properly, where to my general basic non-developer brain, this is a cut and standard model that has very specific dimensions, where everything in the map is scaled in comparison to this model. This basically helps developers make sure that the terrain and decorations and maps are scaled properly in comparison to the rest of the game. Otherwise, you could end up having a map that has dimensions that are too small or too big for player models. In the number 6 spot is the Mad King's Clock Tower. This is a really fun map breakout for me because it is located in a jumping puzzle, and you have to do a jumping puzzle in order to get out. The clock tower is one of the most iconic parts of the Shadow of the Mad King Festival. When you enter this place, you're in a closed off area and can see a bridge leading to the tower. Every time the round starts, everyone in that area gets teleported to the tower and they have to make their way up quickly without falling. But there are a series of jumps you can make in this area to climb out and over the front gate, where I just love this tiny jumping puzzle you can do because I just love jumping puzzles and it feels like a jumping puzzle inception. But as you climb out, you can explore all around this area, where there's quite a lot you can explore. You can see a lot of different cogs and another version of the tower. You can swim around a lot and explore everything. And as long as you are out in this area, you won't get teleported up to the tower, so you can spend as much time as you want just exploring this area without fear of being teleported away, at least until the instance timer is up. I have also seen people make it to the bridge that leads to the tower, which is how I originally learned about this breakout because I saw people on the bridge, but I haven't made it there yet. In the number 5 spot is Bloodstone Fen. This is a very special map breakout for me because this is the first one that I ever did. Where back when this map originally released, I met an individual who was trying to explore the outer reaches of this area. Where above where the entrance to the Bastion of the Penitent is located today, you can find a hole in the wall. Back in the day, you had to do some advanced gliding techniques to get in there, but now it's very easy with mounts. Whereas you get out here, there's a lot you can explore. Bloodstone Fen is a very interesting zone because it is super tiny, but super vertical at the same time, where this map breakout really highlights those facts. But a really cool part about this is how the opening area is super fleshed out. There seems to have been a lot of design put into this place, and there are even updrafts. It really makes me wonder what this area was going to be for back when this map was being developed, or at some point it was cut and never made it to the live game. A reality with a lot of different places around Tyria. But as you leave the opening area, you can find the rest of the map and see many different cool sights all around you. I think this map breakout is just super cool, and I feel a lot of nostalgia whenever I run through this area because of how this was the first breakout I ever explored. In the number 4 spot is the Domain of Istan. This is the last area on this list that I didn't know about until recently, and it is super cool. A smaller part of the map that is pretty important for the story is the ancient Royal Docks point of interest. This is the location that you come to in order to get to Farinur, the first city. In the story, you know that the Order of the Sunspears have a secret tunnel that they use to get outside of the domain of Istan and into the rest of Istan, including the first city, where in the story, you go to the entrance of the tunnel, and then you enter the story mission, and then you arrive at Farinur. But just like what we talked about on Bloodstone Fen, let's go over some cut content. Because on the other side of this gate is a massive tunnel system that is pretty fleshed out and likely would have served as a story mission into Farinur, but was likely cut for pacing reasons. But there is just a lot of stuff down here, and this is a pretty long tunnel. There are several cool areas, and you eventually reach the end of the tunnel where there's a big room with a bunch of serpent statues. And I just love this area and imagining what it would have been like if we had gotten this story mission implemented into the game. I also like this waterfall here that is going through the ground and into the tunnel because it shows you a bit of how the map is designed. But all in all, this is just a great area. In the number 3 spot is Dragon's Stand. We have talked a lot about cut content in this video, but let's go over one of the biggest pieces of cut content in the game. Dragon's Stand is a map that has some exploration elements in it, but for the most part, it is dominated by the massive meta that takes place across the map. 3 giant lanes that the Pact are pushing down towards the Heart of Thorns in order to defeat the Mouth of Mordramoth. Each lane has a variety of events and stories taking place where you can learn more about various characters. But if you've ever looked at the map, it looks a little funky where it looks a little cut off on the northern and western end of it. And that is because there was originally going to be a 4th lane in this map, where some people speculate that this lane would have focused on the Nightmare Court and help provide more information about Duchess Chrysanthia, who may be the new leader of the Nightmare Court in place of Falin. Whereas you explore this area around here, there's quite a bit of cool stuff. You can see the general structure that the lane would have taken its form in, but it's obviously incomplete. There's a lot of rivers and waterfalls and whatnot. You can go down the entire length all the way to the Dragon's Domain. There are a lot of different nooks and crannies all around this area. You can explore some exalted structures, and there's just so many cool different areas. I really love this map breakout because of how we are exploring what would have been a 4th lane, Whether or not that 4th lane would have been good to have in practice is debatable, and I think most people agree that the 3 lanes for this map is a great number. But as someone who wants to learn more about the new form of the Nightmare Court, I think it would have been great to learn more about them had this lane focused on Chrysanthia and whatnot. In the number 2 spot is the Silverwastes. This is an absolutely massive map break, and there are just so many different areas that we can explore. When we look at the map of the Silverwastes, it is pretty big. There are a lot of different areas, events, and so on that you can explore across the map. But a really special part about the Silverwastes is how it is 2 maps in one, because the largest jumping puzzle, and my favorite jumping puzzle in the game, is Retrospective Runaround. This jumping puzzle spans the entire length of the zone, and is basically an entire zone in and of itself. So basically, Silverwastes is 2 entire zones combined into one, but we can take it even further and look at an entire other layer of this zone and explore the Silverwastes broken out of the map. So basically, the Silverwastes is 3 massive zones layered on top of each other. And truly, there is a lot to explore here. You have a variety of fun different details like this massive flat area, these sand dunes, and some great lookouts. You can go behind the map portal to the Brisbane Wildlands and just stand in a fun area, but be careful of getting teleported out. You can find this massive golden area on the edge of the sealed cavern that is beautiful. And you can even go inside of the sealed cavern and explore it, as well as the dark cave system that leads into this place. For people who don't know or don't remember, this is an area that you can only come to at the end of Living World Season 2, but you can explore it here as well, which is nice. And there are just so many different areas all around this place that you can explore, and it truly is a fantastic experience. But now for the number 1 spot, for my favorite map breakout in the entire game, and it has to go to the Tangled Depths. I love this area so much. Not only is there a lot you can explore here, and I mean a lot, but there are several different secrets all around this area that I love a lot. For when we look at all the different places, like I said, there's a lot. You can find the tunnel that leads to Dragon's Stand, you can find awesome flat areas near Teku Nuhawk, you can find massive stretches of flat areas that are incredibly fun to ride around on with your roller beetle, and I think this map is a great example of water levels in Guild Wars 2, where every map we have explored thus far has this, but let's talk about it a bit more really quickly. Where up until the Secrets of the Obscure expansion, each map has had a singular water level, where all the water in a map is built at the same height and the entire map is built on top of it, and this water level spans the entire map. So when you break out of a map, you can explore all of it. Where with skimmers and skiffs now being in the game, it's quite a bit of fun to do that. But you can explore the entire water level around here, reaching the corners of the map. But another fun thing about Tangled Depths is how the water level comes right up to where the ley line confluence is. So if you're riding around on a skiff here, your skiff will pop out of the ground and make it look like you are driving around on the ground. And because players can hop into skiffs, you can actually drag people through the ground and out of the map boundary as well. But I think my all-time favorite part about the outer boundaries of Tangled Depths is what we can find in one of these massive pits, where there are a variety of different pits around here that you can drop down into for a long time. Like, a long time. They're super deep. And there is one massive pit that you can explore and even find some Asuran architecture in. But my favorite part about this entire map break is this. Outside of Tangled Depths, in the middle of nowhere, is this flame turret, sitting here, floating in the air, blasting away at nothing. It does nothing but fire. You can get hit by it, you can damage it, but it can't be destroyed. I don't know why this is here, but I am so happy that it is. It's so fun. But when you combine all the elements together, the turret, the skiff illusion, all the other cool intricacies, and all the various areas that you can explore, Tangled Depths is definitely my favorite map break in the entire game. And that's my list. I hope you enjoyed. Exploration is one of my favorite parts of Guild Wars 2, and this is kind of another level of exploration that you can do. Just a friendly reminder, please don't use any of these map breaks to find a way to ruin other players' experiences. We're here to have fun, and that's the opposite of it for most people. If you like this video, consider subscribing because it helps me out a lot. I hope you are taking good care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.